You hear me good?
Yeah, cool. We are up. We're live. Episode
Yeah.
number 2. You can start us off, man. What's going
How you,
on? How you
how
been,
you
bro?
been, bro?
Start us off, man. What you been up to?
um, it feels good that wedding stuff's over, you know? Like
Oh man.
that took any like unaccounted for time. It was like, yo, is everything good for the wedding? Do we still have to talk about anything? Like it's over. It's all
That's
good.
it, man.
We're still getting
Okay.
along, which is dope,
That's good. That's a
right?
good start. The unofficial wedding of 2 years, right?
Right. No, seriously. It's a blessing and like um I'll shit, I'll just update you and I'll update the podcast at the same time is I'm officially debt free.
Oh man.
And when I tell
Look
you
at
that
that.
like from the journey of moving, having money, being broke, being in the negative, being broke, having money, like the journey has been crazy. And especially like furnishing this office, like wanting to like have a hustle, like I I've never really been on top of my finances in a really smart way, Like I've kind of just been frugal and whatever, or frugal's the wrong word. I've been flippant, right? I just spent money, whatever. So it feels amazing to know that I'm at zero. So being broke has never felt better because I don't owe anybody anything.
Yes. That's awesome, man.
So
Congrats.
that's a good feeling, bro. That was
Congrats,
as of
dude.
yesterday. Yeah,
That's
that's big
huge.
time.
That's huge, man. Congratulations. It's a good way to start the marriage off on the right foot too. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
and that's the thing too, is like navigating finances, knowing like what Jackson would be cool with, what she wouldn't be cool with, making sure that I'm not a punk and I do care. Because I mean, if me and her are off, like it's easy for me to just be like, my money, my choice. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
right.
But
Don't say it like that.
it's
Don't say it like
yeah,
that.
shit. My fault.
Cancel,
Um,
cancel. You can edit that
cancel,
out. Edit that
cancel.
out.
Yeah, so it's a good feeling, I just have to check myself and like even today, like her parents, my in-laws, right? They're so busy, like just Jackson's mom is like Superman. Like the amount of shit she does, like volunteers at church, runs her business, is a caretaker to her in-laws, not even her
Right.
parents,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
the dad's parents. She's just so go and like so busy, and like we hear her like here and there kind of just, I mean, she needs to vent, you know what I mean? She needs to be able to be like, yo, I'm tired of shit, like I am exhausted. So me and Jackson want to do like massages for her, and we were looking to do like couples massages for both of them, and then they have a massage table upstairs, so they're like asking if we could find a masseuse to pull up.
That'd be
So
nice.
just, but this is a perfect example of me wanting to pull the trigger on like $250 right now, right? Like let's book it, like 110 each, 60-minute deep tissue, like let's book it. But then it's like that's the money's not in my hand, right? So like even today is like a learning lesson of just like, just because I want to spend money doesn't mean I should. You
That's
know what I
true.
mean? So even if it feels right, it's like just I can't already, oh, let me use my credit card real quick.
Yeah, it's what's the phrase is like don't go broke trying to act rich is
That's a
kind of
good
how
one.
they say. Yeah, it's
That's a good
like
one.
yeah, don't buy that shit till you're ready for it. But dude, you're doing a great job, man. That's fucking it's amazing that you guys are debt free and
Yeah.
kind of working towards that. And I'm sure you guys are looking to kind of improve upon that and get the nest egg started up so you can,
Right.
we got to tell everybody the wedding, by the way, was great, excellent.
That was a great time.
Flew down. You give them a play by play. Tell them how it went
So
down.
August 1st was our 2-year anniversary, the celebration of the wedding, and we had Florida pull up, Cali pull up. Um, we had a great time. It was like a Friday night rehearsal dinner, ping pong tournament, $10 buy-in, winner takes all. Mr. Blaise Curtis right here won it all right here. Yeah, he got the dub. I totally thought the house was gonna win, but you came in all
Man, I tell you
sly.
what, man, I
Like,
tell you
give me
what,
my money.
that house can play some ping pong though. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about super mom, your
Right,
mother-in-law, that woman
right,
can ball, the whole
right,
family can ball. I'm like, damn, all those women in that house just like came out of the womb like with a paddle in hand,
right.
like ready ready to play off the wall. It's
Right.
crazy.
What's really funny is we were playing ping pong last night. This is kind of a fun fact. Do you know where ping pong originated?
No.
In England.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it's not coming from a white guy, so it's okay. Her dad was like, "Is it some Chinese, right? Like sounds like ping pong." He was making some joke or whatever, and we're like, "Let me look this shit up." So yeah, it was like some guy in England made it. But
Interesting.
anyways, random. Yeah, so it's like on the regular, just downtime, and that's like a good quality time. You don't have to talk. You just fucking mindless back and forth type.
Yeah.
But but yeah, Friday night was rehearsal dinner, tournament. We partied a little bit. Saturday morning hoop sesh had like 12 guys running fives full court. That was blessing. Like we don't have that out here.
It's
So
the
that was a great
best.
time.
It's the best.
Private charter sunset sail. We had 30 people. That was just part of our party. Dude, the video is almost out.
Oh yeah.
Abby's still working on it. Shout out Abby, the videographer. She and Jem, well, it was more Jem because she got seasick. Literally, the
Yeah,
videographer was
you
getting
guys tell everybody
seasick.
about how we pull up and everyone's like, oh, it's about to be choppy out there. And then lo and
Right.
behold, like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like
So
getting pitted. Yeah, so
yeah. Right, right. Yeah, there's your surf guy.
That's
But
it.
it was Whitecaps. It was like I was so worried that we would have spent all that money and get canceled. But pulled up with hella booze. Blaze got the concoction. We made our own painkiller straight out tap, on tap, and that was fun. But super choppy. A lot of people are throwing up, not even from booze, just from seasick. So you want to talk about your trivia night?
Oh yeah. So Alex was busy, living. And I don't know if you know this, but Alex had a couple nights at the Ritz Carlton,
Yeah.
Hawaii. We talk
Right, right,
about
right.
like acting rich. It was a gift. It was a gift. But
Right, right.
a pretty sweet gig that they had. But while they were there, all the guys and us, and I guess the ladies too, we were all out at a bar just grabbing a drink, and like I guess they had like pop-up trivia. So we decided we're gonna play trivia, and lo and behold, we end up winning trivia, which is like $100 gift card to to trivia. So we decided to tack it on for groomsmen to the couple's gift right there, so they could
Right.
go shout
I
out
went
to Down the
yesterday.
Hatch. How was
Just
it?
so you know, I
Place
went
is
yesterday
excellent. The place is
down the
so
hatch.
good.
I went, got a lobster grilled cheese. Jackson got the bang bang
You
tacos. It
earned
was
it,
nice.
man. You earned it.
Yep, that was fun. So we got to enjoy that actually yesterday. There's an
That's
update for
right.
you.
We brought home the dub. Our team name was Your Mom. So every time the guy was like, and your mom with however many points, we're just like, oh my
Yo,
gosh.
I have to tell you, now that you said that, let me find this. I gotta find this quick.
Nothing against Mrs.
Um,
Freeman. We love you. We love you, Mrs. Freeman.
oh, what, your mom?
Yeah.
Where the hell is it? Gosh, maybe it was shit. Maybe it was on Instagram. Kyle messaged me and I forgot that the team name was your mom. So he's like, he said some shit. How did he say it? Where'd it go? Yeah, 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 yeah. So I went out. Oh, check this out. So, what is today? Today's the 14th. So a week ago, I went to Down the Hatch just for fun, and BJ Penn pulled up, bro.
I saw
The
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ex
He's
UFC
running
fighter.
for governor,
Yeah, yeah, he
baby.
pulled up.
Give him a
Right, he's
vote.
running for governor. But I put on my story that I was at Down the Hatch, and Kyle was like, "Dinner courtesy of your mom." I said, "What the? No, I'm by myself, high as fuck, about to link with my barber." He's like, "Your mom was our quiz team's name." That's why I said that. I said I'm faded. That's hilarious. So I literally was like, "What a stupid shit to say to me."
Yeah.
I forgot that was your team name.
Yeah, we were clowning,
Yeah.
man. We were clowning that night. But
So that
then,
was Sunday. Yeah.
yeah,
So
then
Monday is game day.
it was game day.
Yeah.
Tell
Monday
them,
was the wedding.
tell the people how we started off on the right foot by being there a half hour late. Tell
Right, right. I was a little bit of a bridezilla towards the end. I'll own that shit. I'm
them.
pretty I'm pretty I don't know. I get amped up when I don't know. I was pretty amped up. It was just I had a lot of nerves. Obviously, I knew she was gonna say yes. Everything was gonna be fine. Like when it came to like her saying yes and shit. You know what I mean? Like I was just nervous being up there. But but yeah, it was just a lot of moving parts. But
So
yeah,
for
what do you think?
everybody's listening, we'll give a little bit of context. We went to this place for trivia the night before, right? And we win this gift card. And when the guy's up there accepting the gift card, there's another group of people that were flying out like early in the morning. And they're like, oh, you guys are here for a wedding. Like, here's another gift card on us. Like, you guys can like take this and go out to eat or give it to the groom or whatever. So that one was worth like, I don't know, $20. So we decided that we'd go the next morning and get some mimosas and breakfast before we went to the wedding to get set up and get dressed. Well, we obviously didn't tell Alex this, and Alex wanted us to be at his rehearsal or at the venue at like 8:30 or 9. I forget if it was 8:30 or
It was
9.
like 8:30.
Um, so the problem is that we had one car between all of us, and there's like, I guess 4 or 5 of us that needed to get there. And it was like a 20 or 30 minute drive. So like we get to this place, like when they open, they're making food and mimosas for us. And meanwhile, we're sitting there like waiting for like 20 or 30 minutes for them to pull the food out because we didn't want to go all day with not eat until like the wedding started.
Right.
So we're sitting there, we're waiting, we're waiting, we're waiting. We get one carafe, two carafes, and I'm over there just like slamming mimosas. I'm like, we got to be ready once this food comes out because we got it to go. We were smart. We didn't want to like have to wait
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and eat there. So I'm like slamming mimosas. Everybody is. And then eventually we get to the point where like we told Alex, we're like, Alex, there's like no way we're gonna be there at 8:30. It's get more realistically, we're gonna be there like a half hour late. So we like tell him, and he's like super pissed, obviously, because we had one job,
It's so
or we
funny.
had
I'm like
it's
totally biting my tongue. I gotta let
no
you
no no
finish.
I know no
I
no
gotta let you
we
finish.
our one job was to be there at 8:30, so we totally blew that. So we're like, oh no. So like we're trying to coordinate. We're like, one guy is gonna go get in an Uber and like go back because Alex forgot like his shoes and a couple other things at the
Right.
place. And then we had to like, one guy was gonna go Uber there. One guy was gonna Uber to the venue, which is 20 or 30 minutes away. People were gonna drive there to try and get there and set up. And it was just an absolute mess. And by the time like I ordered an Uber and then canceled it because the food came out, so I get charged like $10 to not Uber
Right. You
somewhere.
ate that.
And I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So we end up getting there, and we get there like a half hour late. And then it's like game on because the boys are all like helping set up with all this stuff, right? It's like,
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
tents, there's tables, there's lights. We're doing all this stuff. And we finally get set up. And then, Alex, his like level of stress, I think when we walked through the door was like probably like an 8. And then I think as we kind of like started to come in, it started to like slowly like creep back down. And your mother, bless her soul, she like warned us. She was like, you know how Alex gets when he gets a little bit stressed out, he's gonna be
Did
very
she really?
like,
How
yes,
funny.
she did. She did.
Good for her.
So she was like, just be aware, and we're like, yeah, we know. And we basically like told them like, yeah, and all the boys, I hope everybody came up and apologized to you. And if they didn't, let me do it on behalf of everybody. But
Right.
we were all wigging out and not happy about being a half hour late. But
You know what's so
like
funny is everything you said is so like it's solid, it's true. Like that's real life logistics of like moving around. On my end, it was like straight up on Sunday. I'll be real, it was FOMO, like I'm trying to be a good host, like telling everybody, don't worry, like go have a good time. So like Sunday, I'm busting my ass and all the guys are out having fun doing shit. I have no idea what you guys are up to. Like I'm not a part of any of that. And then I'm gonna put Kyle on blast right now, a little bitch. I
oh
don't know if he's gonna watch this. Kyle,
no.
Kyle's my best man. He comes to Hawaii, doesn't ask if he can help with anything the entire trip until the night before. The night before, he says to me, hey, bro, is there anything? Like, there could have been a hell of shit you could have helped me on, but you just came to have a good time. And that was the thing that got me tight was like, and you know what's really cool and I appreciate is like, you're still getting to know me, right? Like me and you are friends, but like there's going to be situations where we're still learning
Yeah.
shit about each other.
Yeah, for
So like the
sure.
difference between me and you is like a lot of shit that meant something to me, you kind of blew off. Like it was like not a big deal. And I'm like, I'm heightened up and I'm like, because
Yeah.
you were chill, but I wasn't. I was like, it matters to me, And
Yeah.
like basically Kyle's like, hey, is there anything I could do for you? I said, all right, the one thing I'm gonna ask, make sure the guys are at the hotel 8:30. That's the only thing I asked. And it's just principle, bro. It's just pride. It's just like, and then everybody comes late. And then I found out you guys had food. I'm sick to my stomach and I haven't had food at all. So I'm like, and these bitches didn't think about me. I'm like, you guys are late out here having fun drinking already, doing shit. I'm over here fucking hungry, working by myself, sweating. So I was like, and then you know what? I'll keep it 100 with you. I kept saying I was bridezilla because I didn't want to be annoyed at anybody. I wanted you guys to make fun of me, and I wanted to take the heat and be like, I'm being a bitch. But really, I was tight, bro. I was so pissed. I was so pissed, and I was like, and it was like, it's not even like it's out of character for me to send the text that I did. I sent a text to the group chat, and I was like, if you guys asked me to be somewhere 8:30, I'd be there at 8:30, and I just left it at
Yeah,
that.
he was pissed. He
I
was
just left it at
pissed.
that. But it was like It
And
was
that's
one of
when we
those
were
where
Uber scrambling. That's when we were like,
right,
oh fuck.
right. But it was like it was just principle. And again, it was me being like bummed out that I missed out on a lot. And you guys were having fun without me, but that was just like but then I try to keep it real with myself too. Is like that's what I wanted. I can't say that, hey guys, have a good time, don't worry about it, and then hold you guys like, hey, how come you didn't help? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for sure,
there's
for
there's
sure.
the line, So all things considered, it was a success. I was just being a hard ass, and
I'm part, I guess, part of the vein, especially when people are on vacation, and even in general. Like you can ask Chelsea right now if I'm like, hey, if we're gonna go somewhere, be ready at 6:30. To
right. You
me, I
yeah,
know for
yeah.
a fact we're not leaving until 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right, right.
like for me, I always plan in like that half hour because I know them. And you know what, man, hurting people on vacations like or getting people to a place on vacations like hurting cats, bro. You got to be like, you got this guy who's over here peeing, you got this couple who took forever to get ready. This
Right.
person takes forever to shower, this and that. So, like, the fact I wasn't almost impressed with us, the fact that we were there only a half hour late. I was like,
Right, right, right.
8:30. We were out till like late drinking. People are trying to get ready. And I was just like, man, that worked out better than I thought. And then you were heated. And I
I
was
was
like,
heated. And it was like, yeah, it even got to the point where it was nighttime and we're tearing down and Nick wouldn't shut the fuck up about getting his stuff out of the car. I'm like, you still just want to have fun. You don't want to help. Like, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have my keys. My mom has it. She took my grandparents to the Ritz. I can't get your shit out of my car, but you shouldn't be asking me that right now. The whole idea is like, if I'm sweating, why aren't you sweating? Right? Like, the dude got to come
oh,
out here for, I'm gonna put everybody on blast right now. Shit. Yeah. Like, everybody had this. That's the thing too, is that I can't, I can't play both sides. Do you know what I mean? Like if I take care of them so much that they're used to this, I can't hold them to the standard of like, why aren't you doing this? So we can leave it at that. But just know that Monday was a success. I got over it because it was time to go up to the hotel and get ready with you guys. I'm like, I'm just gonna let it go. Now it's just me and the boys. I can't be ignoring anybody like doing chair runs, and I was like, let's just have a good time. We got the Hennessy open. We got the videographer and the photographer to pull up. Wait, I'm gonna tell you this though. One cool story, real quick, is the videographer and the photographer. When it comes to like a hotel, right? You need permission from the front desk to let anybody have access to a room. So I went to the guest relations at the Ritz and I said, hey, these are our guys. Like, can you escort them to the room, because the Ritz had renovation going and it was kind of like a maze to get to the room. And the guy got lost. So the guy got lost getting our videographer and photographer to the crib. So he's the one that sent us all that free shit. We had 2 bottles of champagne, the charcuterie board, the
we earned that for the
macaroons.
record.
Yeah,
We
I
earned
was
that.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
I literally was like, damn, my grandparents just pulled up to the Ritz and sent us all this, and it has some random guy's name. So that was a really fun, like, we got blessed, just for a mistake.
It
But
was awesome.
but yeah, wedding season, amazing. All things considered, great memories, new inside jokes. I love that you guys, are creating your own friendships among each other, because this was like the first time everybody was in the same room at the same time. The Florida friends, the Cali friends, So I appreciate that the most, is like bringing people together was always fun.
Yeah, for sure, man. We bonded. It was a super successful trip. And what's crazy, and Alex may not see it or really truly see it all the time because I guess he's in it all the time. But every single one of his family members like told us, like, oh, come back and you can stay with us for like two
Right.
weeks. Like, I think I got offered by like your in-laws. I got offered by your uncle in-law. I got offered by like friends and family that like we had known for like less than a day. And they're like, oh yeah,
Right.
come visit, come visit.
Just
You can
mad
hang
love.
out
Yeah.
for forever. So it
That's
was super
Filipino culture,
cool.
man.
I mean, it was super cool to like be involved with that. And yeah, shout out my one of my best friends from home, Andre. He's a Filipino guy as well, and his family's like the exact same. So
Yeah.
totally have a huge amount of love for that culture for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Uncle Manny, Uncle Mario,
I know
Uncle
the
Alex,
boys.
you got Patrick, Hunter, all the guys. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
time.
it was awesome. Well, here, so let's. I want to hit a topic. I like wrote
All
some
right.
topics down. I want to try and hit one for a minute, and we can chat about it until our timer kind of goes off for our hour. I've been reading a book. The book is called Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, and it's essentially she talks about like leadership principles and like emotional intelligence and like understanding a lot of things. And one of the concepts she talks about is like, vulnerability, guilt, shame, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of wanted to key on a concept that she talked about, which it was about shame. And like shame, I think is such an interesting like thing to discuss, and we can kind of get into it a little bit here. But it's they kind of boiled it down to like the difference between saying like I did a bad thing or like I am a bad person. Whereas like
Hmm.
shame being like I am a bad person, or guilt or something of that nature being like I did a bad thing, but knowing that you are a good person like underneath that. So I guess like I wanted to kind of open up about something that happened to me the other day. So for those of you that don't know, I do private lessons and gym training with a gym here, a local gym in Sacramento. And I had, the day that I walked into the gym and got like hired on, I had no credentials, no experience. And the owner of the gym, shout out to Bean if you ever do listen to this, she kind of just let me in and gave me a set of keys after knowing me for like an hour and was like, come coach a class and we'll like see how you do. The amount of like graciousness she showed me, like faith and support, and like me trying to get into like the fitness space has been like a super, super crazy thing for me. And I'm like really, really incredibly thankful because I really love coaching people, whether it's kids and lacrosse or other people just trying to reach their own personal fitness goals. So I've been in and out kind of the gym recently just because I've been so busy with work. I just completed an upgrade in the plane that I'm flying in, and as far as like my lacrosse training, it's been kind of going off the chain because I'm a head coach now of my team. So I've been in and out for practices a couple times a week, and I hadn't been able to get to the gym too much. But over the weekend, I believe it was about a week ago, I go to the gym and I decide that I'm going to bring a couple guys from work over to the gym. And it's not something that I really thought twice about, but I like brought people over there. We opened up, we, did a workout and we leave. And one of my buddies throws a story up of all of us lifting in there. And then I like reposted on Instagram, and then she hits me up and is like, hey, it's not really cool that you brought some people into the gym without like asking permission. Like it's not, she thought that I was like hustling on the side, like renting the gym space out or like getting paid to train people there that aren't like members of the gym, didn't sign waivers to train there, all these other kind of things. So for me, I was like, holy shit, like I totally did something like, in my opinion, that was like a breach of trust with an employer, a friend, mentor in the fitness space. So for me, I felt like fucking awful about it for like, it's probably for the better part of a day or two. And I was, telling her like, and I know people in that space and like in those times, they don't really want to hear anything besides like, hey, it won't happen again. Like I don't have an excuse. Um, and that's kind of what I did. I was like, hey, if I can do anything, like I'm really sorry. I understand like as a business owner is like a breach of trust. It won't happen again. And she handled it pretty well. And I still coach there today. And I've coached, since then, a couple of extra classes too. But I guess I just wanted to talk about how like in that specific moment, like I had been walking the tightrope, I'm walking the tightrope between feeling like, is this something that I'm shameful about? Or is this something that like I did something in a guilty way or I feel guilty about, instead of like being like totally ashamed about like the way that I acted. So, you probably have something else to chime in about, but kind of like painting that picture of like, you may have done something, you know, not great, but that doesn't mean that you're a bad person or you had ill intent. And I think that's something to really like key in on and understand that just because you do something wrong, it's a lot of it's like the intention and knowing that, it wasn't intentional. You apologize, you make amends, and you do what you can to make sure that you don't make the same mistake again. And that's having awareness, and guilt isn't a bad thing. Like inherently, I think it helps you learn and grow as a person. But I think like sitting and like brewing in that shame, I think is super, super detrimental to like your mental health and mental health space, self-confidence, and all those other things. So I don't know if you have anything you want to like chime
Well,
in or a
no,
story
for
of your
sure.
own, but
And if anything, help me stay on track. I'm just gonna say that while I start, just in case I get too far off. But the first thing that I thought of was something that a lot of people don't know is I got kicked out of the college I went to. So my third year of college, I got caught I went to a Pensacola Christian college out in Florida. Very dogmatic, like very legalistic in the sense of like religious terms, like very conservative, really on top of the students. So I got kicked out literally just for drinking. But I guess the point is feeling like you fucked up. I get that's kind of like the point of bringing that up is like, excuse me. For me, it's like when I got kicked out of school, I immediately had the front of, oh shit, it was my turn because so many of my buddies had got kicked out. It's very normal for people to get kicked out. I remember taking a photo on the back of my car and I had like my hand like this and I was like keeping like a straight face. And it was like I lasted 3 years. That was kind of like the more of like a punk approach to like, yeah, fuck you kind, on the way out. And at the time, it was like the worst thing that ever happened to me because what I realized was I was rolling deep with friends. And it's really interesting. Right now upstairs, my brother-in-law, Josh, he has two friends from the college that he goes to. He went to PCC too. And I don't know these guys, but I was sitting up there on the lanai talking, and it was about like circumstantial friends. And it's like he's a junior, he got one more year, and he's already understanding the fact that like when it comes to friendships, you don't understand at the time that you're only friends because you're at the same place at the same time, right? Like it's not real. It's like it's happenstance. It's easy. It's convenient. They're right there. They're on your hall. They're in your class. They're on your team. Like that's considered a friend. Not that they aren't real, but in the grand scheme, normally those people will move on, whatever. So what I'm getting at is when I got kicked out of school, I lost so many friends, right? And it got to the point where it was kind of like this is the script. I got kicked. Like I went home, right? I had 24 hours to leave campus from Pensacola, Florida, driving the I-10, go to New Orleans. My dad flies into New Orleans. He gets in the car with me and or just the two of us drive down. So my girlfriend, who's my wife right now, right? Jasmine, her dad calls me, basically deems me unfit. I'm bad for his daughter. Me and Jasmine break up. Uh, my dad's disappointed in me. I have the awkward 27-hour drive, right? Like 2.5 day
Just
trip,
a short drive from
right? Just
Florida to California to
yeah,
talk about it. Yeah.
right. And like I pull up to Cali and it's like now what? And I actually went through therapy that entire summer. And again, trying to keep not to get too off track, but the idea of feeling bad for what you did or being like, damn, like something's wrong with me. You know what I mean? So like in the circle and in the situation that I was in, a lot of people that aren't born and raised in that Baptist or conservative lifestyle, like they could look at me and be like, bro, you're fine. Like this is ridiculous, right? Like explaining something like this to you, right? On the outside, you'd be like, this is absolutely absurd. Like there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. But like if you live that shit, like there's a lot of kids out there that have that pressure of parents judging, their friends' parents judging, the pastor judging, the youth group telling the girl, don't talk to him because he's a bad boy. You know what I mean? Like that shit is so ingrained. So it was kind of like some soul searching. It was like I got kicked out of school, and that was the first time in my life that I got to express myself. So when I say that is like I'm the goth boy that never blossomed. I never I never had the chance to pierce my ears. I never had tattoos. I never wore all black, right? Like I was kind of adjusting to the lifestyle. So as soon as I got kicked out of school, everybody thought I was going off the deep end, bro. I bleached my hair. I like did silver. I did gray. I
We call
pierced
that
my ears,
frosted
right?
tips, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like just the idea again, like the more serious note of like feeling like there was something wrong with me, it was like all these eyes were like, damn, he just pulled a Britney, right? Like shaved my head, like got kicked out of
Right.
school, like going like tweaking. But it kind of took a while and like a lot of maturity and thick skin to realize that it's like the idea of being a product of your environment. And it's like at one point I felt like I used to say I was too Christian for the secular and then too secular for the Christians. I was in limbo, like I couldn't really relate to either side. But it was something that I had to own, and I fucked up. And like even if we ever get to the whole 15 principles, I talk about the storytelling, right? Like how do you tell your story, like in a positive or in a negative light. But just to your point, that's the first thing that came to mind in the sense of like understanding that you made a mistake and you move forward. But in my story, I feel like it's a little more drastic, right? Like yours was a one-time decision where you're not being a punk about it. You know what I mean? Like you literally have owned up to it and you feel bad.
Well, yeah, but I think yours too, part of that's like you're put in this box, which, as a young adolescent kid, which I guess you were probably what, like 20 at the time,
Right.
you're like developing, all these like principles of life, the people that you want to be around, the type of person you want to be, the things you want to study or pursue professionally, personally, all those things. And you're in this huge developmental phase. And like, in my opinion, and the law disagrees, but you're 20 years old, you can buy cigarettes and vote. Like
Oh, right, right, right.
having a drink underage, I don't think should be something that, you
Just pull
know,
up to London.
would
You
it,
got,
well,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
right.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah,
Or
pull up to,
Canada,
yeah,
but I don't think that like even breeds like the right mentality in the nation. That's a whole nother topic. But like having that and thinking like just because somebody has alcohol makes them a bad person is just baffling to me. Like there's plenty of people that do it responsibly, there's plenty that do it irresponsibly, but there's plenty that do it responsibly and are able to have adult conversations, be mature, be responsible, and then also, have a whole other part of life where they're successful and they're doing things that they want. So, I kind of like, I don't want to say it's unfortunate that that's part of that culture that is over there at PCC from what I've heard from you and a couple other people that have gone there. But it's tough to like paint yourself into that box. And then when you are removed from the box, all the people that you were around, your circumstantial friends, or the people that you were sharing a life with for however long, are then going to look at you in a different light. And
right.
those are all the people that you spent the time with, right? So then now I'm sure you had a bunch of friends that you were friends with there that you probably haven't talked to in forever. And even some of your really close friends that you were there with, so
True.
it's kind of interesting to see like, who rides through the highs and lows, who's riding you out when you're not on the high, when you have a tough time like that, you get kicked out of school, your parents or grandparents, somebody has like a, medical incident, and, somebody passes away, you're going through a tough time with mental health, whatever the case may be. It's interesting to see the people that are going to stay and ride that out with you, be there
Right.
for a phone call, check in on you, kind of, be more than a circumstantial friend. And to me, that speaks more to the character of the people that you're around than somebody who's just there for, I call it farewell to friend. You don't want to be a fair weather friend. You gotta have more quarters. Four
Right.
quarters are better than 100 pennies.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. That made it in.
that's right. It did. Put it in the
Right.
book.
Yeah, no, it was interesting too because that guy upstairs that I was just talking to, he was just talking about how he's a floater, he has a bunch of friends and all that. And it's like friend is such a loose word, it's like you can be cordial, you can be cool with people, but it's like once you have enough of those situations, like you said, where you understand that it's not what it seems like and you just compartmentalize this is what it is, nothing wrong with it. But again, who's gonna ride it out, who's still gonna fuck with you, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But I understand where you're coming from though too. Were you able to mend that or are you still working on it?
Yeah. So I think in general, like my feeling of guilt and shame in that specific scenario, I think like I'm good with it now. I think I had to wrestle with tiptoeing the line between the two for a couple days. So that kind of set in. And that way I knew kind of like moving forward the best way to handle that situation, just honestly just more communication is really all it comes down to. It's just a lack of communication that occurred, because I don't think there would have been any issue if I was like, hey, my buddy's training to be rescue swimmers in the Coast Guard and I want them to come out and like train with me in the morning. No one's going to be at the gym, but we're just going to pop in there. Is that okay with you? And she probably would
Oh,
have
was
just been
that on your
like,
story?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I recall. Yeah, you guys were all
So
putting in
yeah,
work.
so we're all in there doing that, but she found out by seeing the story though, so like she probably felt, even more backdoored by the fact that she wasn't,
Right.
informed ahead of time. And even still, like I realized too, like there's liability in that. Like if people aren't signing waivers and one of those guys sues, and I was a trainer that's working there and like allowed them to work out without a waiver, like they might have a like legitimate case. Not that any of those guys would do that,
Yeah.
and I know
But
they wouldn't, but as a business owner, you don't play in that realm of gray. If you can just make it black and white and have people sign the waiver, you just do it.
right.
So it's just for protection for her and her business, which she's, built up for so long. So for me, I think I have like, come to terms with it, and I've understood, kind of, again, did a not so great thing, but not that I'm, not a great person. I do feel like I usually am pretty good about putting other people's like thoughts and feelings like out there in front of it. So I'm able to kind of grasp and tackle those before I make a decision. But yeah, it's definitely something that was tough for a little while to figure out. And I figured it'd be kind of a nice little topic to talk about today, because I knew we'd kind of catch up about wedding stuff, and then kind of maybe hit on a little topic that I found reading my book, and then relating it to kind of a real life situation. I figured you'd have something to talk about too, which is
No, for
cool.
sure.
You got anything else going on? I feel like we haven't chatted, and because you went so crazy with wedding stuff, and I get back, and I, was super busy going back to work, and even still, I'm flying out to Dallas on Tuesday for work for about a week. I'll be down there doing simulator training and stuff. So I've been like going nonstop since I've been home too. But catch me up. What else is new, man? You got something else you want to chat about, or?
Well, it's kind of like interesting that now is it's go time. I have moved, I have settled, I have furnished, I have had the wedding, I've like now hit that debt free mark. So like this is real life, man. This is like some grown ass like 25-year-old who's trying to get his shit together. Like this is a great start for me. So like I'm in an interesting situation where there's so much that I want to do for the Why So Grim brand, but I am professional at spending money. Like it's always when I buy this, when I buy that. So for me, like the update is really dialing in my flow. One thing about me is I hate that I always have to get back to a schedule. It's very hard for me to just be like, hey, I have 2 hours today. It's like, nah, if I knew the day before, and that's just something that's a flaw that I'm sure could be easily fixed, but that's just how I operate still, is that like today, okay, I go to bed at 10:30, I wake up at 5, I have time from 5 to like it's unfortunately I don't have just the wherewithal to just be like, hey, right now I get off of Blaze. It's Sunday. I got plenty of time. I'm going to work on something. Like normally for me, it's kind of, it needs to be planned. So I I also don't want, if I'm being honest, to promote myself too much on this. Like if I'm being honest, like this is a place where me and you will come and we'll have meaningful conversation. We'll keep it on par, like sure here and there I can maybe be like advertise myself, it's like, hey, I got a video that's out, or I don't know, like there's there's the whole Why So Grim thing that I'm putting off to the side. I kind of do want to keep this in its own lane. I'll bring the spooky office and the shirt and the little aesthetic. I'll keep that because that's who I am. But that's basically just what's important to me now is being on top of my finances, respecting Jasmine in the sense of spending money, like it's a common goal. I am opening a Bank of Hawaii account. I'm going to close my Bank of America. We're going to open a territorial savings joint bank account. Like just all these big boy moves, of like,
That way
I,
you can launder the money in a more
yes,
effective way, right?
right,
Yeah,
right, right, right. Yeah.
yeah.
So, um, we want to do a honeymoon probably May of next year because that'll be 1 year of my employment, and then I get 2 weeks PTO. So I have plenty of time to save up. We're trying to hit Greece and Italy. If we're lucky, we'll hit Switzerland too. It's kind of just up in the air. Her brother graduates in May, so he'll walk. I don't know if I want to pull up to Florida and use my time off for just being in Pensacola when I spent 4 years there. You know what I mean? Like I kind of think that I've uh I've passed the visit Pensacola days. We'll see. Um, I got tatted over there. My girl Giselle, shout out Gulf Coast Tattoo. That's my go-to out there. I love them. Chad, he's a homie, but I paid for 5 tattoos and only got 4. So she owes me. I literally
She
paid for it.
owes, she
So like I
owes.
have to go. Like I got a big pair of balances, like scales that I'll have right here. Um even like the whole Why So Grim, the logo that I've been working with has a pair of balances, the whole idea of balancing good and evil, having just a balanced lifestyle, whatever. Again, that's a conversation for another time, but the scales are important to me, like the cups, right? We talk about that. Keeping all your cups filled,
Yeah,
got to
man.
be a good to your girl, good to yourself, good to your body, good to your family. Like, within reason, we have a lot of people pulling at us,
Oh, there's always stuff happening and pulling you in different directions, man. For
right?
real. You
So
know, even in like in regards to that, the other day, or I guess it was yesterday. Chelsea and I are over at a friend's going away party, and she gets asked by a couple other women that are married to a few of my buddies, like, oh, like, when are you guys gonna get married? When are you doing this and that?
You're talking about to
And
you? They're
like
asking you?
they asked me and they asked her, and I
Mhm.
guess she said it's been a common thing with a lot of her like friends and even family, like asking the same question. And I understand like the women's biological clock and these other things that are a factor in that, but to me it's definitely a societal pressure that you talk about pulling people in different directions. Like she feels like all these like other people are like looking and like like why are these things not happening or whatever. And it's like it's a very interesting dynamic to where from the outside looking in, like we're like super happy with where we are and like aren't don't feel like we need to like rush to do anything, but outside societal pressure definitely starts to play a role in
Right.
you know not only like our relationship, but the way that like other people see it. Like her family is out in New Jersey, and definitely is like, why would you move out there if that's not what's gonna, eventually be the goal or what you
Oh
guys
shit.
want. So, and we knew that beforehand. We're trying to work towards like, happy, healthy like relationship and whatnot. But it's very interesting to me that that being pulled in different directions that way,
Yeah.
it can definitely affect you know more people. And
Yeah, that could
I
negatively impact your relationship if
100%
yeah,
could.
if you and okay, so here's something that might be a really good solid closing one is when I was in therapy that entire summer after getting kicked out of school, the most important thing and the hot topic was always Jasmine. It was always like, hey, and we could talk about it another time too if we actually did dive into the 15 Principles book. Was like that was the most crucial time in my life because I had a very toxic mentor and he was a womanizer and he was like really pushing me to just hook up with these girls. And it was like any normal bachelor guy would have been cool with it. But like for me, like I was really battling like my the love of my life's family doesn't accept me. I'm away from her. I'm living with my parents again when I don't want to. I want to go back to her. So like the reason I'm bringing this up is it was like circumstantial and it was always something that got in between me and her. So as a couple, me and Jasmine were always solid. When we're together, we're strong, we're good, and it was like it was societal, right? Like that could be the thing is that if Chelsea has somebody whispering in her ear, making her feel some type of way, like she could internalize that, right? She could bring that to the table to you guys, or the same thing with you. If you got guys that are influencing you to do something that's not like cool with the other, it's amazing how I was allowing other people's opinions to get in the way of what I wanted, And I almost fucked up. I really almost got to the point where like he handed me a condom and we were at like a stagecoach, the country music Coachella thing, you know? And it got to the point where I was tired of him like making jokes, the Christian kid who didn't want to get his dick sucked. Like he was really embarrassing me and like really putting me in like interesting situations where it's just amazing how something as simple as that. I mean, mine's a little bit extreme, but the sense of like you guys know what you're doing, so it's almost like you don't appreciate other people's inputs, right? If it's not yours, right? Like it's just between you two, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I, we said that and she feels that way too. But again, like she gets it a lot more directly than me. Like you and I both know, like guys aren't walking up like, hey man, when you guys like, that's not things that guys don't talk about that stuff.
Right?
But women,
That's
at
funny.
least, I think generally I would say that women talk about it more than men. I don't want to generalize too much, out here making
Cancel.
statements like that. I don't want to get canceled right away. But yeah, I would say like they typically do, they ask the questions like, are you guys thinking about getting married or engaged, or are you going to have kids, or all these other things? And part of that probably is because, the biological clock is ticking, or because of like those are things and aspirations that people have, or because like even still, like it might be somebody who's really close to Chelsea who knows like, hey, this is something that she wants to do, or this is an aspiration that she has. So they're just checking in on that goal for her, which also is
Right.
totally valid.
Right.
But again, like if you're overwhelming somebody and then you start to put this like unknown pressure on them for having this discussion, even if you think you're coming from a spot of like love and care, and you don't really understand the totality of what's going on, then it could just put undue pressure on her and I when we're doing great, man. Like and that's
Yeah.
like that's the thing that is like a little bit frustrating in that regard. Is like it's a outside entity that's getting inside because they're planting the real estate. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I can relate, not too heavy though, on feeling some type of way about, like, I'm married to a twin, you know? So my wife is seeing her twin sister with a 1.5-year-old and pregnant, right? Twins want to do everything together. So like the fact that she's a mom and Jasmine's not, me and Jasmine are on a totally different page, you know? Like Jasmine's thinking about going back to school, right? She badass, bro. She finished an accounting degree and now she's over here thinking she wants to become a hygienist, you know? So like more power to her. I'm totally for it. If anything, that gives her an opportunity to hustle and figure out the life she wants. And then me with the whole Why So Grim, I can build something for myself and we'll be sitting on our computers and like just both. If anything, I'd feed off of that, right? Like, wouldn't you want more than ever to have you workshopping next to Chelsea, right? Like self-sufficient, she's doing her thing, you're doing your thing. Like it feels good to know that she's has the drive right now, you know, and just the pressure of having kids, you know. It's like I was told at a very young age from my parents to wait, you know, enjoy your marriage, enjoy each other, get to know each other, you know, be intimate, learn things about each other. Don't just throw a kid in there who becomes the number one for the next 18, 20, 25 years of your life, you know? So I'm very happy with where we're at, you know? If anything, I feel like we're in a great situation as young as we are. And I don't want to have kids. Like we're gonna wait 4 or 5 years, you know. If Justin has to be 30, then so be it, you know. Like that's kind of what it's looking like, you know.
And just to prove that our philosophy was right, at the wedding that we were all at, you and me both were there.
Right, right,
The men that went up there and gave speeches, myself, Will, the best man, Kyle, didn't talk about any of those things. And the bridesmaids both said, have babies soon so that we can be aunties.
right,
So just proving the point, man. Just proving the
right,
point. I do love the bridesmaids though. Shout out to Gail. Shout out to Isabel.
right.
But they did they did end up doing that to
You
to kind
know,
of put again that pressure. It comes back down, you know. You
but
start
me
to
and
feel
Justin are
that.
one, right? Like as long as you're taking the time to be one with Chelsea, that's the idea of marriage, you know, is that like if you ever get to that point and you make that decision with her, it's that you become one, you know, like we didn't have a really good week this past week, if I'm being honest, you know. That was I was kind of telling you that I had a rough week. Work's a little iffy. We could talk about it next time, but there's just a lot of moving parts with stress of expectations, you know, on myself being like an assistant, like making sure that I'm doing a good job and like the satisfaction of just being a guy. You know, you're at work, you want to feel like you're doing something. You want to feel like maybe if you don't get a pat on the back, make sure like you feel confident in yourself. I'm in a training period where I don't own anything. You know, I'm not doing payroll twice a month yet. I'm waiting for training. I'm waiting for the time from the people that need to train me. So I have that kind of stress on making sure I'm doing well in work. And then me and Jasmine were kind of off, you know. So it's just, you know, maintaining a relationship with somebody, you know, that's a whole, we could spend an hour talking about, you know, what it's like to love a woman and like be respectful and meet all the cups, right? How you want to be loved, all that, you know. We're both busy guys, you know, so I'm emotionally available for a lot of people though too, you know. Like I normally am one, like I just went and hung out with Uncle Manny, bro. I just went Friday night. Jasmine has never been to Uncle Manny's house ever. And I hit him up last week, said, let me know when you want to link. I pulled up and smoked with him at his house in Napili Bay and was with two of his workers and two Hispanic guys. They're cooking like authentic Mexican tacos. Like it was just, they're drinking Modelo, bro. Like it was a vibe, you know? It was like, if anything, a really fun topic was me talking to the Hispanic guys about being a minority as a white guy out here. And they were like joking me and like saying like, yeah, you like that shit, you know, like it was fun, you know, it was like, it was a very
Yeah.
fun, but it was like, yeah, like Jocelyn's not down. So it's like, okay, that's one, you got 7 days a week. That's one night where I'm not with her because she wasn't down. So like, as long as I'm there and I'm spending time with her, you know, again, not to get too far off a tangent, but I'll tell you this, and we got like 2 minutes before it's an hour, but I just the idea of quality time is I dead ass downloaded Harry Potter, the Lego PS4 game, because I want to play video games with Jasmine and like shooters are too hard for her. So like me downloading fucking Harry Potter Lego, like sitting there with her faded in bed. Like it was fun, dude. Like that was just like that's quality time, bro. That's like having a best friend, you know. And it was like I need nights like those, you know. I gotta make time for stuff like that, you know. It was a good time.
Hell yeah.
But
Gamers, dude.
well,
Gamers.
just
Love
quality
that.
time, man. Anytime. You just read a book next to her, you know, like there's plenty of memes out there about like when you're with somebody for long enough and you're just sitting at the table and you're with them 24/7 and you have nothing to talk about, you know, like you know, if you're married 60 years, what the fuck are you going to talk about? You know what I mean? Like you just love each other and you want to spend time, you want to play cards, you want to sit on a swing and look at the ocean, like
Yeah, it's a good point.
right? Like what I'm with you. Like what do I possibly have to say that you don't know, you know?
I don't know, man. People get some crazy thoughts, man.
Right.
Like, what did I say when we were out? I said it when we were out with you in
Hmm.
Hawaii. I was like, man, could you imagine like if people didn't have feet, we like chopped off people's
Oh.
like people were born and they had no feet and like it was just like a peg leg that came down. Like, do you think that we would have like invented shoes? You think that we would have like would soccer be a game? Would people be running around with those like springy legs all over the place, running like 100-meter dash and doing the
It's so funny.
Olympics, you know?
This sounds
Like
like
it's
some stoner talk,
I
bro.
know, man, but like that's the thing. Like sometimes the brain just starts to do some wild stuff, and it's like I tell you what, there's no way you thought I was gonna say that when we're in Hawaii talking about it. You
Right, right.
know?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you gotta.
Just sitting there talking, you know,
Yeah,
talk
you're just like,
nonsense,
huh?
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. We got another one down. Again, we're gonna if we'll say this too. So right now it's August 14th. It's been probably 2 weeks since we recorded last. We haven't figured out how often we're gonna record, but I'm gonna post the first episode today. We have artwork done. Shout out Dan. I'll let you see his Instagram, Blaze, just so you can see who the face to the name. But
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you to
yeah,
him for
Dan.
sure
Yeah, he
for the help. We Alex, you can tell the fans or lack thereof, but
we should
we
save it. We
we'll
should
save
save it.
it.
Like save
That's a
the
good idea.
embarrassment. Yeah, I owe Blaze $60 for some fucking
He
booty
doesn't
ass
owe me. He
artwork.
doesn't owe me.
Some booty artwork, bro. Shout
Yeah,
out Fiverr for fucking me over. Yeah,
but we
top
can
seller.
chat. We can definitely chat about it on the next one.
Gosh, yeah.
Oh
What a
man.
joke. I'm embarrassed. I'm gonna keep that in the back pocket. I felt so shitty, dude. It was like I was thinking, I was like, oh, Blaze, like, let me figure out cool ways for us to have like things about us on. Yeah, whatever. We'll talk about it. What a mess.
All good. All right, brother. Be
All right. Well,
safe.
much
We'll
love, bro.
yeah, we'll chat later.
For sure. Talk to
All
you
right,
later,
man.
dude.
Yeah, bye.